welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building a fully self-sufficient city. And in today's episode, we're going to try to answer a question. Is it possible to have a city that only has Industries DLC industry? Now, this is unique because we have no connections to the outside world. So we'll be able to figure out if our commercial industry can actually exist in this state. So in the previous episodes, we built this little residential area. We have a slight industrial area right here. We have some forestry industry right here. I kind of don't love what I've done, and I might change this. And then we have a couple of other industry areas. We have our agriculture industry right here, our ore industry, and we have a generic oil industry out here. So I am starting to want to preserve all of this land for residential development. So what we're going to do is relocate some of these uses off from the island and get rid of all of this zoned industry. We're done with that. We are going to need to take all of our industrial areas up to a level 5. I think that's going to help us have a more sustainable city that can actually weather what we're about to put it through. So as with all of these, this build is continuing because of your likes and comments. So if you like this build and you want me to continue doing it, please like the video and let me know that you're enjoying the way that this is going. And with that, let's get building. I'm going to first start out right across the river. The main reason for this is I want to, again, have this industry continue across the river. So we're going to move our forestry industry over here, and then we're going to get our oil industry started before we go ahead and start demolishing some of our zoned industry. And with this, it's similar to our other builds. I am not testing this first. So when you watch Verde Beach, I've tested that. I've I've made sure that it's gonna that my vision can actually occur. With this, that's not the case. Now I'm wondering, this is zoned actually, so it's going to be completely fine for me to create a new industry and move this over, or just eliminate that rather. So let's go ahead. We're going to paint an industry area. Interesting. I thought it was better right here, but you can tell not so good. Now, forestry is the only industry that you can actually force into place. And I'm going to do a little bit of forcing right now. We're going to use move it, and let's grab some trees. And that was not what I wanted to do. We want to copy, not delete. And let's make a forest. You know, I think that's going to do. I think that's going to work. There's a lot of trees here now, so I think we're going to be just fine. So let's paint that industry area. And while we're at it, let's just paint this one too. Okay, so my main premise here is that we're going to really struggle to use any of the raw materials. I don't think that you can take those to a shop and process them, but I think that we should be able to sell all of the unique goods produced by factories. So that's what we're going to do, is produce those goods. So right here, we'll place this right off our road. And we get our forestry main building, palm trees. All right, looking all right. And this is now the Chester Wood Production Company. It just feels weird not to have company there. And we're gonna need power out here. I'm just gonna run that along the bridge like I did in the previous bridge. And we'll get to our water pipes in a little bit. First, let's get some generic roads coming off here. I'm gonna give that building a little bit of space. And we're just going to send this back into the forest. We have a couple roads branching off from here. And now let's see what we have unlocked. So we have a small tree plantation, a sawmill, so that's production and processing. And this is something I have to correct from the previous episode. I didn't think that I got processing with my ore industry, but I think you unlock one processing building for all of your industries, no matter what, at level 1. So let's place a few of these. And then we need water pipes underneath our road, right where they belong. And then the height of realism, sending the water pipes underneath this river right here. That's perfect. All right, so this doesn't need power, I don't believe. It's fine. It's not chirping at me. I can set the trees. This is the unfortunate part. Without a mod, I can't actually replace these to make these look better. So it's going to be something weird. And the funny thing is, this is a bug in the game. When you're on a tropical map and you select conifer, you get palm trees. It's kind of funny. We'll just leave it to alder. It's going to look out of place, and I'm sure that if any of you are into ecology, you're probably thinking this is absolutely atrocious. It's an egregious mistake to have all of these trees just plunked down in the middle, and I agree. I didn't do this. Well, I did, but I didn't. You know what I mean? So, all right, with that, we need someplace to store all these logs, and I think it makes a lot of sense just to have those right along the water. Actually, it's not going to, because they're going to create a lot of backup. So let's just place a couple of these log stores right there. Get rid of this one. The reason I was thinking the water is, back in the day, you'd float the logs down the river, but it's fine. We'll just place them here. This is probably the maximally efficient way that we can handle this. I'm going to move things to the speed level 2 for the most part here, and hopefully that'll get this leveling up quicker. I also want to have some processing, so we should take a look. This produces 4,800 units per week. This process is just a little bit under that, 3,200. So ideally, we placed 6 of these. We would need probably 8 to be able to process all of these. Now, is this the most efficient or realistic layout? Probably not. Is it going to work? Hopefully. We'll find out. So we're going to need someplace to store all of this lumber, and we are going to store it right at the end here. Actually, let's get a large warehouse and just call it a day. Medium. Let's not go crazy. And I'm going to send a road up here. The idea being that maybe there's some efficiency gained here. Probably not, but we'll go for it anyway. We've got water, we've got power, we've got an industry, and there is not nearly enough workers here. We can see that right off the bat. Our resource production is great, our workers are not so great. So this is where I think getting rid of some of this zoned industry could be very helpful for us. So we're just going to eliminate this wholesale. I regret getting rid of these roads. Just because we're changing the industry doesn't mean that the roadway network has to change. In fact, it's probably more reasonable and realistic for it not to change. We've got right of way here, we'll keep it. Why not? And we're still connected from a power standpoint, so we're good. I want to check and see how we're doing. We're right on the edge. We've got some new power plant options available to us, and I'm going to place a solar updraft tower, maybe way down here. Let's take a look at what's happening. We're doing well from a financial standpoint, so I think we can handle this. Just place this a little ways down here and run some power lines through our forest. There we go. Now this should fulfill our power needs for quite some time. That's pretty good. I'm pleased with that. So now if we need to get rid of some of our other power options, we're okay. In fact, if we were micromanaging, we probably should be getting rid of those, but I'm not going to for the time being. We'll just deal with it as is. Now, it's funny. All of this time, we've had this little Barlow Hills area not doing much for us. And now we're going to eliminate it because why not? This is how we start our industry area. So let's begin our new industry area by placing our main oil building, and it is large. Place that right here, and what that gives us, and we will get rid of this, we'll freestyle a bit here, including changing the roads. I think particularly in this area, having a more industrial look is just going to feel good. And I know we're not doing this for aesthetic purposes, but no reason that we can't think about this a little bit. So let's set this right away. We'll set this up for petroleum. And I missed setting this up over here, so let's do that as well. So the resource here is going to be planed timber. There we go. And from a All right, we now have enough workers. We're at level 2. Let's improve everything to get this thing really moving, because we need 350 workers. We're not nearly there yet. Nice little cul-de-sac out here. Perfect. Another industry cul-de-sac out here. Let's get this going. I want to also get rid of this generic district, just because at this point it's confusing. Okay, so now we can get going. Now, oil industry is one of the industries that I'm probably worse at creating. So this is going to be an interesting one for me. So we have our oil pump. We can produce this into sludge, or take the sludge and make oil, petroleum, and then we can store it in our tank. So we have processing and storage. So I'm going to think that this would go out a little ways, perhaps behind these trees, and then they would hide it a little ways back. Maybe not. Maybe they don't care. And then back here we will have some of our pumps. And I did not check my terrain at all. I'm curious to see how these terraform. And that's interesting. You see that there's that little cone of influence. I wonder if it's most efficient for me to actually separate these, because this right here produces the exact same amount. Oh, look at that. So this has a potential. So yeah, I'm going to need to separate these out a little bit. Let's dive into that in a second. So if we look at our production, I'm wondering, oh, this has more to do with the workers, the number of workers here, I think. 4,800 units per week. Over here, 4,800 units per week. So reasonably, I think these would probably be spread out a bit. And now we need some storage. So we'll go over here. We'll place some of our storage. Now you'll see them coming right here, adding to the storage. And that definitely could have used some leveling. Let's take a look at our terrain heights. Yeah, that's bad. So I'm going to see what I can do to fix this. Honestly, that didn't do all that poorly. So I might just let good enough be good enough. Just for my own conscience, let's go ahead and fence these in. There we go. So now we're just storing a bunch of oil. And look at that, it's already almost 42% full. So now we need to process this, and we're going to need a lot of processing. This is going to be absolutely beautiful. So it's great that we're going to be able to put this right by the coast. What a genius place to put it. Not sure who did that. Who thought that was a good idea? Let's, instead of doing that, which is the logical location, we're going to spread this out. We'll place it behind this row of trees. And again, deal with some terrain. Yeah, that's not a good spot. We'll add a frontage road here, as ridiculous as that sounds. And these little plants process 4,000 units per week, so we could just maybe put 9. There we go. Let's make this look a little bit better. Obviously, we aren't striving to have the height of realism here, but doesn't mean we can't take pride in what we do. And there we go. Let's even feather this out a little bit. That's maximal pride right there. And now we are going to need, I believe this is set. No, that is not what I meant to do. Petroleum, which means to me that I probably didn't set this one right. I did, and it's full. Ooh, that's bad. So that's gonna mean that our industry area is gonna max out on workers. Okay, well, it's gonna stop producing, so that's not good. Right here, let's see where we're at. Let's get our policies in place. Financially, we are just rolling now. We're doing great. So at this point, it's really, let's see. To get to the next level, we have to have 150 workers. We're going to be finding it in the level 2. So with that, we have all 3 industries going. So let's do the dirty work and get rid of it. All of that stuff. So we have these warehouses. They have some goods. I think we need to utilize them in a more efficient way. First of all, we're going to need to make sure that we don't completely sever all of our power connections, which we actually should be doing by doing this. I'm just going to have grid on because that makes it nice and efficient to connect these things. There we go. That should actually, with the exception of our factory, link almost everything together. There we go. So we're all set there. And here's where I might make the exception. Let's get rid of this zoning layout. Doesn't matter. Or this roadway layout. We'll clean it up a little bit. And let's look at our terrain heights. I want to relocate this. And we're going to need to clean this up before I do that. The primary reason I'm interested in that is we now have an opportunity to reuse this warehouse that we've already built for our new goods. So this is right here. This is all of our unique factory goods. Let's come into here. We'll switch this to unique factory goods, and we need to get power over here. That is no longer a thing. There we go. And we've got the exact same issue over here. Let's take care of it. And now this is the ore industry goods. We are going to, again, swap this out. And this will be unique factory goods. So, Moore Pit is almost where it needs to be. We're short on workers. But I would suspect that this really helps us out in getting our workers where they need to be in all of our industries, because there were a whole bunch of jobs that we just eliminated. In fact, look at this. Just a couple workers away, and I think that if we just speed this up for a second, we'll get there and we'll have a level 5 agriculture area. Oh, it took a second, but we got there, and I'm very pleased about that. This road bugs me. I'm sitting here watching this, just cringing. So we're gonna fix this, and we'll get rid of this. I'm sure a number of you are staring at that, just going nuts, because I would be too. So let's also get rid of these old districts. Look at that. Our agriculture area is now level 5. I don't know what that gets us. Let's take a look. Oh, we get lots of really large storage areas. We get a slaughterhouse. I don't know if we had that before or not. Milking parlor, cattle shed, flour mill. The most important things are likely our factories. All that other stuff, it's just kind of glitz and glamour. Not worried about that. So this is something that we could do now. We have our households plastic factory that's in our oil industry. We have this furniture factory that we could put together. That is plain timber and paper, which we don't have just yet. So we'll need to do that. Printing press, that is oil, paper, and then you need to get a unique good. Electronics factory is a little bit of everything. And then we have our clothing factory, which we should be able to do now as well. Car factory, food factory. Yeah, we're looking good. We're looking good. So I'm going to hold off on some of these because I want to focus on getting these leveled up and getting a raw production where it should be. You can see that we don't have enough buyers for products. That's because we've maxed out our storage for everything. So let's work on producing more stuff. So in here now we can make our paper with our biomass pellet plant. So that's what we're going to do. This produces 3,200 and it also produces some pollution. So we really need to take a look at our polluting uses and really try to concentrate them. And I'm just curious, if we take a look, it's right here, over here. I'm going to add this industry over in this area, which might sound, oh, no, I won't. No, I won't. It doesn't like that. Unless I were to do something kind of cheeky, which I might. And that would be actually extending this industry over to here, severing it, and yeah, it's fine. We'll just have it separate. And we're going to make a polluting part of this industry area. So let's grab this. We should be using our industry roads over here. Got to save any dollar that we can. And I don't like the way these bridges look. That's why I'm not using them. But that's certainly an option as well. So let's go and pollute this farmland over here. That sounds like an absolutely reasonable thing to do. And then I'm gonna have a nice sweeping curve here. Better for semis and things of that nature to have those sweeping turns. And then we'll just have that right out here. So this is not the most efficient layout in the world. They're going to be taking these goods to this cul-de-sac back here and processing them. But it's a great way for me to not pollute the forest. So let's place a couple of these. Not an industry area. We'll fix that. Okay, so we've got 6 of these. So probably not as many as we need, but enough to get by. We're really going to need to think about large warehouses when it comes to this production of things. Paper, though, is not the end of the chain, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Let's go ahead. We'll set this to paper. Get some water pipes down here. And then we're going to need some power out here as well. Again, just using the grid. So I haven't been changing the storage mode for any of these because I don't think it matters right now. Like over here for this warehouse, I have it set to balanced. It's full because it can't export. So what's going to happen? So one of the things that was mentioned is that it seems like some of these industries are exporting. So saw that in the comments. I don't see that happening. I see the output, but I don't see the export. And it's not importing any. It's 100% own production. No importing there. Yeah, so I think it's okay. I think it's working the way it's supposed to. So this is going to fill up basically immediately. And you can see that we are getting some workers there, which is good. For the next level, we need 550. We're definitely going to hit that. Over here in our oil area, we're at level 2. We need 350 for our next area, but we can produce plastics now. So we are going to do that. In fact, this should probably be over here. Funny, it still has zoned oil industry products. It's still emptying. That's a problem. Again, I didn't respect the terrain, and look at what I've done this time. This is a disaster. So we can fix a disaster though. I think Verde Beach proved that. So we can do it here. Terrain disaster is pretty easy to mitigate when you have move it. So I don't know when this is ever going to empty. 9% full. Hate to do this. We're just going to delete it, and we're making enough money on the regular that I'm going to be okay with it. And then we'll set this to petroleum. And now with that, you can see that these start to go away. Not enough buyers for products. You should see that go away in all of them because the warehouse is buying the product. Okay, so from there, we can start to process some of this stuff. I'm going to extend this out just a little bit. And then we'll modify these roads just to come up to here. We'll have some circulation through here. And then back here up the hill again, because I am not respecting the terrain at all today. Topography. You're just, let's just, we could certainly put that over here, but it'll be a lot more efficient if it's close by. So we'll just take this hill, tell the topography, not today, not today. And now we should be able to put in some of our plastic making. No, what is this? Crude storage cavern. It's bigger than this one. I wonder, how does that look? Is that bigger? 300,000. This one is 400,000. Yeah, I guess it's a little bit bigger. I like the way this one looks better though, so we're gonna stick with this. So sometimes you just do things purely for aesthetic purposes, and this is one of those times. All right, so plastics right here, petrochemical plant. This produces plastics. So this is going to produce 4,000. So if we line this up perfectly, it should be able to produce the exact same number. So over there we had 9. So let's put 9 here. We'll have to expand our industry area to do that. Okay, so we're all set up there. We just need water, and I think power should be good. Yep, we're good. We need to set this to plastics. And now we should be good. I should look at our water production. Yeah, we're on the border there. So now the supply chain is we pump, we process into petroleum, we process that into plastics. Oh, wait. Oil into petroleum, oil into plastics. So it's really good that we have the extra storage tank now because we're going to use them both. Then we take these, throw the plastic in here, and now we've got some factories that we can build. So over here, we should be doing okay. Yeah, we're well on our way to level 4. Over here, we are well on our way to level 3. Honestly, probably on our way to level 4. And over here at Moorpit, where are we at? Plenty of workers. We just need to produce more goods. So I want to put some of these factories in our build, but we're going to have a problem. And that problem is that so we're either going to send all of this traffic straight through this intersection right here. And if we look at our traffic, pretty darn good right now. But I don't think it would be great to live next to all of this freight traffic heading right down here. So we're going to stop that. But the first thing we're going to stop is all of this. We had a whole bunch of generic industry right here. I don't think that we need that anymore. I'm feeling bullish on this whole thing. We've got this warehouse here with commercial goods. Nah, we're done with that. Over here, is this... Okay, this is unique factory goods. It did empty out, so we're good there. Unique factory goods there. Okay, so at this point, once these last few buildings go away, we've completely eliminated all of the goods in our city. All we have now are unique factory goods, no commercial goods, no generic industry, just our unique goods. And our budget's okay. Now, we've got a lot of demand for commercial, which tells me that we're doing something all right. And we're looking okay. Lots of industrial demand too, and we're going to meet that with offices. But look at this. What is this? Not enough buyers for office products. Interesting. Building not producing. So I'm seeing something I didn't expect, and that is this is high-tech office, and it's not doing anything. So I'm wondering, could this be resolved with some more commercial? It shouldn't. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, but no. I guess there are other things that don't make sense. We have all of this utility stuff here, and it's pretty awful. So what we're going to do is move some of this. So we've got 3 inland water treatment plants and 4 recycling centers. Let's process this stuff over here. I think this is fairly not flat. We'll pull this out a little bit further and we'll place these plants right here. We don't have our large plants yet. We're so close, but it's the population that's holding us back. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping that I would get lucky and be able to do this. We'll just place 6 of these small ones. And then for our trash collection, so we have this waste disposal unit. And I'm wondering if this will do the trick too. It looks like this should fulfill half of our need, which I will take. So this is 4,800. We are producing 98, roughly. So this will be helpful. It's not going to do the trick for everything, though. We're going to need more. Now, I wonder, will a waste transfer facility transfer this? I guess maybe it can only transfer it to the waste processing complex. Yeah, I don't want to go that far yet. That's pretty expensive. And now let's get all of our water pipes connected. There we go. Just power and we should be good. Just for visual continuity, we'll make all those connections. Perfect. There we go. So let's get rid of these last few uglies over here. And we will replace this. I wonder. Let's look at some of our unique buildings. So I'm thinking the Mall of Moderation would be an excellent fit here. Because we're replacing this old area. And you know what? This is the Verde Beach save. And you know what that means? We have parking. So totally unnecessary, but we're doing it because why not? And then we'll have some more commercial back here. There we go. And just because I like to, let's add some trees. This will be a fancy Mall of Moderation. Maybe not too fancy. The trees aren't very nice. And let's add in some flowers as well to cover up some of the lumpies and bumpies. Not the ideal setup. You got to cross a road to get into the Mall of Moderation. Little lumpy, little bumpy, but it's fine. It'll do the trick. And you might be asking yourself, why bother with the trees? Well, there's never really a bad time for a tree, so we're going to do it anyway. There we go. Nice, lovely Mall of Moderation did absolutely nothing to meet our need. For commercial, we'll have even more. We do have all this power that's not doing anything right now, so that's a problem. That should work itself out. Now, I think that we're going to need some sort of cargo train amenity throughout the community to make all of this craziness that we're about to have work. And the craziness that we're about to have is factories that use multiple goods. Now, I should have looked at the terrain heights. That was not the most appropriate place for this. So we'll place one there. Another one. Let's extend this road out just a little bit. Is that on our beach? It is on our beach. just beautiful. We'll place our next one here. Let's look at our terrain. Yeah, we got a spot. And then we're going to need another one over here. This one should be considerably easier. Okay, so you might wonder, what's the purpose of this? It's a good question. The main purpose is to get our goods around this island as efficiently as possible without loading up our streets with cars. I insinuated that and then got distracted. So I'm okay with the at-grade crossing. That's fine. We'll send this up. We should really have our terrain on. I want to get maximum speed, so we're going to really try to keep this as straight as it can be. There we go. So we've got these two industries connected. We just need to get this one connected. So we're going to need our shortest bridge path, which is not good. It'll be right here. Just trying to make sure that both ends of my bridge seem plausible. So I don't have fine road tools. And truthfully, I'm wondering, does it just make more sense to grab a terrain height on one side and pull it to the other? There we go. Now when we make this connection, yeah, it's still a little wonky. So the trick there is I could dig this out and get real crazy with it. I'll just use Move It and do some Move It things. Let's clean this up as best as we can. It's not going to be pretty. We'll call that good enough. And now we need to make our final connection here. No! Capital City, 26,000, which unlocks some of the things that I was hoping for before, like the Eco Advanced Inland Water Treatment Plant. Good that we have it. Unfortunate that it came a little bit late for us. I'm still not finding a guideline, and that's what I'm looking for right now. I want this to be a nice, smooth angle. There we go. All right, so now for all of these, and you can see we're going to need that Advanced Inland Eco Water Treatment Plant because we are at a pretty precarious spot with our water, even with our new plants. There we go, water there, over here, same story. And then finally this one, and then we need to get power to all of them as well. There we go. And I'm going to take care of this water issue while it's on my mind. And what I'm thinking, so we've got all these pumps over here. I might move some of these, consolidate some of our utilities over here. And by some of these, I mean all of these. We're going to way overdo it on these. And these don't need roads, but it feels really weird to me not to have roads. So we're going to add some. And these should have power. They should, but they don't. So we'll need to run that. Not a huge deal. That should connect these. And it does. There we go. So I should be able to get rid of these 3, which I think are the main 3 over here. And eventually we'll get rid of those windmills as well. And maybe even these wind turbines, not mills. That is a mistake that I often make. Say that incorrectly. So now our water availability is awesome. Water, not so good. Ideally, I think that we'd replace these. The main reason, if we take a look, so this is producing 60,000. This is producing 160,000. The cost per week, it's a bit more. The pollution is way less. I guess it doesn't matter because we don't really care about pollution in this part of the city. That's not to say I don't care about pollution. I deeply care about pollution, but we're testing some things. So rather than spending the money to get the perfect, let's just go with the good. I think it's funny that these are called eco plants when they produce so much pollution. 45 pollution is nothing to sneeze at. 7 is a much better number, and the noise pollution, it's less. But considering you need to have 5 times more of them, it's just kind of a funny thing. So, oh well. Let's clean up a little bit of the nonsense around here and then look at our train. Okay, so we've got these, and right now they shouldn't really be doing much. Now I want to make some better connections in this area with these. So let's send this around. And that'll just produce a slightly better situation for us. Certainly better than what I did here, which is absolute blasphemy and not okay. And that is just like a cut and fill. And I can live with that. I can live with this, and I hope you can too, because it's probably going to stay that way. So there we go. Nice connection here, over here. We're okay. I just want to smooth out this turn. Just again to increase that truck speed. Make it a much more efficient connection. And then our big kind of messy one is over here. There's not a lot I can do to fix this one. The layout here, I'll be blunt, it kind of stinks. A roundabout might be able to fix this, and that's just what you like to see. Semis going through a roundabout. That's why you have that apron that they can drive over. All right. So now I can get some of these factories in place, and that's what I'm really excited about. So I'm wondering, furniture factory, that probably should be over here, but does it matter? Can I just consolidate all these factories into a location? I think I can. And that'll be much more efficient with my unique factory goods warehouses. And with city services, fire, things of that nature, just a lot better. So we're going to have our furniture factory over here way away from our furniture industry. This is a pretty flat area too, if I'm not mistaken. I am mistaken. It is not flat. So maybe not the ideal location for this. Can I fix it? I can get some over here. And then are there any other factories that deal with some of the same types of materials over here? Toy factory. This one will again have some good synergy with that. Printing press is another one that has some good synergy here. So we'll place that as well. And let's see what we can do with our terrain. We're making a decent clip, money at a decent clip at this point. I'm pretty pleased with that. We'll need to take a look in just a moment to see where that's all coming from. Not enough money. Yeah, I shouldn't have been moving this stuff around. That was not smart. So I wanted to do that to try to leave myself enough room to add a road. Let's see. That's going to drive me absolutely crazy. So even though this is totally unnecessary, I'm doing it. Then we need some water pipes. Okay, so we probably should put all of the goods warehouses over here that we need. So this is paper, timber, plastics, and that's it. So I need some money. And, this is a good opportunity to test something that was mentioned, and that is, can people really escape the city if I just crank up the money? There's no way to leave, so can we kill the city? I'm sure that we'll get some barking about taxes being too high. Yep, they're upset. So my population is very unhappy. They don't seem to be leaving yet. And I'm a little leery of testing it too hard. So let's make everyone happy. Lower the taxes. I've got enough money for my state subsidized warehousing, so we're good now. So what we're going to do is place some warehouse yards right in front of these. So timber, paper, plastics. And then once these load up, and I'm hoping that they take the cargo train. Ideally, they take the cargo train. There's a way to test it, and that's just this. Oh, look at this. Not a full load, but we'll take it. And are they coming in? They're going to load this up? Oh, they're taking it directly to the factory. Now that's interesting. The other thing I want to test is we can crank our production rate. So let's see the difference. So at 100, it is 480 per week, 150. So it's the multiplier is a little bit higher, but I think it's good. Especially when we look at what we're doing. 32, 47. So it's not exactly 50% more, but yeah, I think it's good enough. We need that. So for all of our production, we're just going to crank it. We just want to produce as much as we can. We want all of the money. So anything that produces unique factory goods, steel products, we're gonna go for it. Oh, interesting. We have a warehouse with ore products. So all of that worrying about this, and it still has ore that we can't use. So let's get rid of it. And now we'll have unique factory goods here. So let's see what's happening here. We don't have enough plastics. We don't have enough plastics. We don't have enough paper. But these are all full. So I'm going to set these to empty. Hopefully, it's probably not going to make a difference. But we know what we want to do with these. We want to load up our factories, and look at that. They're full. Might have happened on its own, but that's okay. There we go. So what else can we build? We have an electronics factory. Clothing factory, which would probably be best over here. Car factory, someplace in the middle. Food factory, again in our egg area. Yeah, we'll start with that. So again, our terrain, very messy. This is probably our best location. So let's go ahead and make a nice smooth spot for ourselves. And we're going to have a frontage road here. Didn't fix that. So the frontage road didn't work. What are you going to do? It will do the trick for us. This needs a lot of stuff, but I think we should be able to import it from all these other areas. And I'm going to redo this. We'll just add a road through here. The frontage road was a bad idea. Sometimes you've got to accept that your best ideas are not good. So there we go. We'll get rid of this ugly frontage road. There we go. And we'll move this right here. Now, if I want this to operate at the peak efficiency, I probably want to have all of these warehouses in close proximity. But I think we're going to be okay. We're going to see. Whoa, I don't like that at all. Let's get that fixed. There we go. We have unique factory products right here. We have unique factory products right here. I'm going to move this one to be closer to this building. And then we have, let's see, that's unique factory goods. This is producing pastries. That's a unique factory good. Flour, so they should be able to get that over here. Paper over here. Animal products coming from the farm. Plastics over here as well. We should be okay. I could certainly add more warehouses, but at a certain point, it's kind of overkill. We're probably overkill on the unique factory products warehousing at this point. So we'll move on from that one. Next, we have this clothing factory, which kind of has the same footprint. So I'm going to place that across the road. And by footprint, I don't mean building size. It's actually very different. So we're going to need to think about this. I'm going to try to place it here and terraform around it. I don't love doing that, but sometimes you can get away with it. This is not going to be one of those occasions. So we're going to do a couple of things to make this look a little bit better. And all of that nonsense, my friends, is a great example of why it's so important to respect the topography. Didn't respect it, and it was a lot of work. So we're still struggling with plastics. We do have some over here. I guess we're all filled up and ready to go. Curious, when I click on this, no traffic. What about here? Oh, yeah, look at all that traffic. Our traffic flow, 94. That's pretty good. I'm disappointed that our train's not getting more action. Actually, 96. It's fine. You do see that it's getting some use. So other factories, we have this electronics factory. I'm going to place that over near the ore industry. And I might just fill in this donut back here or place it back here. That'll work well too. This is much more manageable to fix. Yeah, I'm very pleased with the way that turned out. Very good. And what are we missing here? So we need glass. Do we have glass storage? Metals, glass. A nice road to connect there. Let's get some water, and this should be good to go as well. And plastics is our big limitation here. I'm thinking that we will probably want to... Well, that's full. It's just the number of trucks. We have 12 workers using these. Wow, our population's exploding. 30,000 now. So let's go ahead. I'm going to not be quite so cheap with our plastics warehousing. And we'll have plastics over here and plastics right here. And that should help us out quite a bit because this will get loaded up. Ideally, let's see what that is. Oil truck. So that's giving us some plastics there. So we've got that moving. What else do we have available to us? Household plastics factory. Interesting. Forgot that's a unique factory good. This one we could probably place by the oil industry, but we're not going to. What's the point? We'll continue to place them over here. There we go. And because of this location, we are totally set up. We do need petroleum over here now, so that's kind of an interesting one. So that one, we do that I think that we can do that in a warehouse. Yep, we're fine there. So petroleum, we've got plenty of plastics now that we have our new warehouses. Next factory, so I think we've got almost all of them. Let's see, we are missing 5 factories. So our ore is still not at the right level. Petroleum, soft paper. So what is holding these areas back? Right here, it is just simply production. Over here, also production. And here, it is also production. So what that tells me is I need to let this sit on high for a few minutes, and we'll get those last few factories in place. Okay, so we now have 3 4-star industries and 1 5-star. And one of the things I realized I forgot to do with both the oil industry and the forestry industry was increase the efficiency by adding barracks. So we're going to do that right now. We're almost there with the ore industry, but we're a ways away on the oil, and that's because of our unit production. So this should be a help, although, you know, at the end of the day, One of our big limitations, I guess, is storage. So that might be another way to juice this, is to get more storage. And I want to do that. We've been making money, so I feel good about that. And we do have some more refineries. Let's go ahead. We'll get some barracks in, and then we'll go ahead and add those factories, and we'll see about more storage. So I'm just going to add these right along this road. Nothing fancy and something ugly. So we can fix that. I'm not worried about ugly. Look at that. That is peak city planner right there. So let's see, that takes our efficiency up to 40, which I think is on par. It's better than the ore industry and not as good as what we have in the agriculture industry. Why don't we crank that up? There we go. So when we look at our industry area now, 68% efficiency bonus. So that's not going to do much for us if we simply cannot get these goods where they need to go. So let's go ahead. We've got a couple more factories that we can build. So we have this petroleum refinery, and our terrain says that can't go here. Maybe. Why don't we just snake that around? We'll put it right along the water here. Beautiful. Just what everyone wants. And there we go. We'll add our road and then our factory. Let's look at our terrain and get this to go right along here. And I think knowing that this collector is not going anywhere, let's get that to terminate over here. There we go. So let's get some water here and some power. Next up, we have a soft paper factory. This one's probably well suited to be near the agriculture area again. We've got space along the shore, but I want to hide this with trees if we do that. Maybe I'll actually level an area over here for it. And then lastly, we have our car factory, at least lastly available to us now. We'll get to that in just a minute. After we get this one done, interestingly, the lemonade factory was not connected. I don't know why that happened. All right, so this petroleum plastics, it's probably okay. It's still coming from this general area, and this one needs a little of everything. It's probably fine. We just saw it load up right there. So I'm gonna call that acceptable. This, again, the petroleum and the plastics and the paper, truthfully, they're all kind of far away from this one. I wonder if there's anything better I can do there too. Okay, so it now has all of its goods. We have one more factory left. That is our car factory. That needs, really, it fits best over here with a little bit. This would be an ideal location for it, but I'm sure the terrain is not good. Yeah, that's no good. How about across the way? That would pollute our farm. So I think what we're gonna do is just say there's no great location, so we'll just pick a location. And that location is likely right about maybe somewhere around here. This looks fairly flat. I think we can work with it. Okay, so this one's set, and we have fixed the terrain. We're looking good. Now this plastics is again that one thing. Unique good, cars. Let's crank all of these unique products. Make as many as we can. We've got to make sure our city's happy. There we go. So we have 3 factories that we can't build yet. And that is because we don't have our areas maxed out. So what I'm going to do is take one last look. How close are we? We're fairly close there. We're not even close there. And here we're again pretty far away. We've got some barracks to build over here, so let's get to that. These ones are actually pretty big, which makes them interesting. I wonder, beach barracks would be so cool. That's what we'll do. Not in the area. So, no, that's not what we'll do. We'll place them inside the industry area. There we go, a nice little carve out of the forest, and that will get us up to 46% efficiency. I'm okay with that. So at this point, we're doing all that we can. We're producing lots of goods to the point that we are actually having problems. Let's make sure that we have that at maximum efficiency. So I'm going to add in warehouses for the goods that we're short of here. So paper, petroleum, and plastics. Truthfully, I see it filling up. Look at that. I just came at the wrong time. And I'll just look at the rest of these. This one is missing plastics of all things, even though we're loaded up right here. And down here, it's kind of the same deal. I'm going to add another road. More paths is always good. And then let's look at our traffic management too, because I know that we have not been focused on that, and that can lead to some issues. So we've got priority there. We'll add some here. This is good. Right here, not good. That one's collector, so we'll leave that. Over here, I'm sure that we've got lots of problems. And then in our new area, there's probably a signal, yeah, right here. That's the only one. So at this point, all we can really do is wait for our goods to reach, or to be produced. So we're gonna do just that. Let's let this sit here for a couple minutes, and then we will be ready to go. And just like that, we are a colossal city. So that gives us more stuff. Stuff we're not going to use, like the cargo harbor, but this ocean thermal energy plant could come in handy down the line. Okay, we've got a ton of money, and our production is slow, and I think a lot of that is because there's no place to put the goods. Let's go ahead and add 2 large warehouses to each of these industry areas. This might be a fool's errand, but we're going to go for it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to extend these roads right here, and then we'll add our warehouses right in front. So this will be for plain timber and another for paper. We'll do the exact same thing over here. The main difference is we're probably going to put them right over here. Oh, that looks terrible. Let's see if I can fix that with a little bit of move it action. And we'll set one of these up to petroleum and the other up to plastics. And I'm guessing this is going to really, look at that. It's already filling up. And that's our production is going through the roof. That's great. So it's going to fill up, and that's unfortunate, but it'll at least get us closer, because I'm just seeing that some of these other industry areas, they're just moving faster. Thankfully, more pit is almost there. All right, just a few more minutes, we should be there. Okay, and I start looking, and I see a massive death wave happening, and I know exactly why. I never added crematoriums. So our cemeteries are totally filled, and everyone's dying. So this is totally avoidable. If only I would have built this. So we're going to just use some eminent domain, place some crematoriums, and hopefully save our city. Oh no, this is not good. Let's see, we've got one there, one there, one there. We'll add one over here. Should be good coverage. Yeah, so many dead bodies piling up. And ultimately what that does is lower our land values, I'm sure. Or it just leads to more death. So that was not good. Not good at all. Hopefully this turns around, because that's the last thing we want. I thought that we had proven that we had a self-sufficient city, but you have to take care of death care. You can't just let everyone die. So let's see, for health, average citizen health is okay. Death care, now we have capacity. That number's going down. It was as high as 400. And our elder care is really not great. And I'm wondering if at this point that is 16 years being by dead people. So that would do it. Okay, looks like we've stabilized. I'm feeling better about going back to waiting. Okay, so we're now having a number of the factories backing up because of garbage. So I think that we're going to need to do something about this, and that is create a collector network through the city. So what we're going to do is extend this across and kind of mirror some of what we're doing with our rail line. And that collector network will hopefully carry all of the trash through the community. Now here's where it gets unfortunate. I did not extend the collector out this way. That would have been ideal, but I didn't. So we're going to tee into this with a local road. Try to mirror our rail network, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I upgraded this to a highway. I'm desperately hoping this doesn't become more attractive than using the rail, but you can see it's a very quick route. And now at least this collector over here terminates this, or will terminate to something that makes sense. It doesn't yet. Just got lost my train of thought there. Just a moment. There we go. Now let's do some vanilla traffic management. There we go. So that should be very, very, very useful. There would probably be value in adding a connection here as well. And if this weren't focused around the garbage collection, I'd probably connect this right here, considering that's an arterial going to that collector rather than a local. But this will do the trick. So my guess is that this is carrying a lot of traffic now. Let's take a look. Okay, there's a lot of traffic, private vehicles. The one I'm really interested in is city services. There we go. Here, same story. We've got some city service vehicles using this. That is ideal. Perfect. We'll go with it. Okay, so we're very close to reaching our thresholds for the next two industry areas. We have one factory that is unlocked, and we're going to place that now. And then I want to take a look at our other factories, because I think that maybe we're not operating as efficiently as we could be. So we have the shipyard, which almost, it kind of skirts what we're trying to do. Obviously, a cruise ship is not going to be produced for internal use, but I think we're gonna make an exception. Because we have to. So we'll get that placed, and let's get some water pipes there and power. Now, I haven't been placing all of the warehouses near all of these buildings, but what you can see is that with some of these, they're just using all of the resources up and then sitting empty. Like right here, plastics. Even though we've got that plastics right there, I'll set that to empty. I don't know why that's doing that, but it is. So what it's making me think is that maybe we're switching times a day. Maybe there's value in having a larger warehouse or two over here. So right here, we're going to have one for timber, plastics, and I think petroleum. So hopefully this will solve some of our issues that we have been seeing, because this will give us 33 workers in each of these warehouses, loading this thing up and taking it to where it needs to go. So that's very helpful. Now, I don't know how this couldn't be exporting, but we're going to go with it. So this costs a ton. Garbage is piled up. Interesting. So I'm going to connect this up. And we've got some height stuff going on over here. I'm going to take care of that too. There we go. Should be good to go. And with that, you look at all the traffic that we're seeing. I wonder how we're doing on traffic. We're fine. It's surprising. So thankfully, this is now really taking a lot of goods in. right here, not enough goods, not enough petroleum. Even though we're full here now. Set this to empty. I'd love for this just to ping back and forth. That's my goal. Doesn't mean it's going to work. But with that, look at that. Now we're at level 5 with our oil group, which will give us one more factory. This is the sneaker factory. So this can really go anywhere. Let's take a look. I'd love for it to be, well, this one doesn't matter, truthfully. It needs a little bit of everything. So let's just place that over here as well. Oh, interesting shape. That's what I love about the Industries DLC, is all the buildings have such unique shapes. This one needs a little bit of everything. We'll see if this, it should be able to take some of the products here. Petroleum and plastics, again, another thing that we needed before. So we should be good there. And over here, we're so close, so close. So let's let this sit for another minute, and then we'll take a look at our city statistics and draw some conclusions from everything that we've done today. We're so close, but I feel like I've been counting to 13,500. So I'm gonna cheese this a bit just to get it going. And the way that we're gonna do that is simply to add one more lumber storage pile. We'll do a large yard. That will immediately draw a ton of traffic here. Look at all of this traffic. Everyone wants to store their lumber. And we're going to see this number actually go up. There we go. Level 5. I could not be happier. Traffic at 91%. That's low for here. So that has unlocked the modular house factory. So we have some good locations for this already. So we'll just add it to this location over here. Maybe. Maybe we'll have to do a little bit of work. This location could honestly probably work out all right. It's just a very large building. It's a very large building. So I think we'll place it right here. The way that we're going to handle it is to add a road, and then let's do a little bit of leveling. And now I think that if we fix this road up a little bit, it'll be just fine. Okay, so that is our final building. We just need water there and it will be good to go. And I noticed one thing while we were waiting, and that is I didn't set all of these buildings to have their max production capacity. So I think the household plastics factory and the sneaker factory were the main ones. But we want to make sure that we are maxing everything out. So I'm just going to do one last once over before we draw conclusions. Okay, that's it. So back to our original question. Is it possible to eliminate all of the zoned industry and rely 100% on the Industries DLC? Well, that is a resounding yes. Not only is it possible, but it's profitable. Very profitable. So I think at this point, we need to take a look at some statistics. So first, let's start with our budget. And what you can see is when we come in here, we're making no money, apparently. That's a 1 week thing. So if we speed this up, I'm sure we'll see this fluctuate a bit. We know that we're making money. We have $4 million in the bank. We had almost nothing at the start of this. So it's fluctuating around, and most of that comes from our factory. Now, you see some profit from some of the industries. I've looked at this for a while. This recording is about 3.5 hours at this point. And what I've noticed is that the oil industry makes the most money. Just, which makes sense. The forestry industry loses money almost constantly. And when you take a look at egg and ore, they both fluctuate a bit. So most of the money is coming from your manufactured goods. You can see it right here. Our profit 48,000. That's where we're getting our money from. And it leads me to wonder, could we rely entirely on the industries for our profit for our community? Is that a thing? Let's take a look at our city statistics as well. So we obviously had our death spike. So I took a look at that because that was a concern to me, where we had a lot of death. We've also had some births. Not as many, though. It's dropping off, which is interesting to me. I don't know why. Influx, still nothing. And one of the things that has been the most fascinating to me is we have 12 tourists. 12. I don't know why. I don't know if we trapped them here. I don't think so, because when we look at our influx, we did. We trapped some tourists here. They're never able to leave. That's hilarious. Because influx basically stopped in 2016. And then apparently a couple tourists died on the island. And then they've just been hanging out. Then when we look at our treasury, we're doing really well. Budget, really well. City value, very high. Taxation, we've had a couple spikes. I did a couple things, but we're okay. Population changes. We had our death wave. That was my bad. that was my fault. Employment level, pretty good. Now I'm going to dive into this for a second. So when we take a look at our industries, what I think is fascinating is you look at the number of workers. We're almost maxing out. 1,338 workers at our wood products industry alone. Almost 2,000 at our oil group. We're almost filled up. Same thing at the Moore Pit and the egg area. We're doing really, really, really well. And then when you look at the petroleum industry right here, 61 workplaces. It doesn't tell us how that's doing. It's not operating because it doesn't have materials. That happens from time to time. I've noticed that quite often. Now, I'm going to go into a tangent. One of the things that I think is really strange is I've set some of these warehouses to empty. They just fill up and they just sit there. And I don't know if that is the result of no outside connections or whatnot, but it feels like most of these industries are actually getting their raw materials directly from the production line, which is not normal. So I can test some of that by clicking on the actual industry building, and what you'll see is that I click on the shipyard, and you'd think I'd be taking all the materials from these warehouses, but look, they're coming from all over the place. Part of it is from the cargo terminal, part of it is from this road. When you go back, it's leading this way. It's all over the place. It's not the warehouses. And when I click on the warehouses, I get nothing. I guess I had a line coming from the petroleum refinery for a minute, but not a lot. A lot coming from outside sources, a lot coming from this cargo train terminal, which makes me wonder, are these valuable or not? Is the only value of these that I was able to reach level 5 on my industries faster? That very well could be. Let's go back to the statistics, and what you can see is available jobs, tons. Education levels, moderate. Students, death wave. And then happiness, we're in an okay spot. We haven't increased our zoning really for residential this time around. Commercial, we did a bit, and industrial zoning is gone. We don't have any, and we're still fine. Now office, we haven't changed it, but it still ebbs and flows. See, prisoners, pretty. It's kind of staying pretty static there. Cyclists dropping with the death wave, and all the rest of this stuff is pretty much nothing. Although we do have a collapsed building somewhere. Not sure where. Either way, what I can tell is that it's totally possible to eliminate all of your zoning and rely 100% on the industry's DLC. You don't need any zoned industries at all. These are totally fine. You don't need outside connections for your industries either for them to be productive. And it's pretty plain to see that we'll make tons of money just with our industry's DLC and no outside connections. So, this was a long one. This one took a lot, but I'm really, really, really pleased with the results, and I hope that you are too. If you are, please hit the like button, subscribe if you like this, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Let's end this with a brief city tour. Take care. Bye-bye.